119. That's a lot of mice, man. Let's go for the Apple mouse, right? So I'd save you money on the Magic Mouse, right? It's okay in terms of like, I like the gesture part of it, but other than that, it's shit. Sorry, it's trash. Like, it's got horrible skates on it. You're a bit limited maybe with Max, but I would definitely wouldn't buy it, would be my opinion. MM711. I don't like it. I quite like the MM711. I'm going to put like a solid pick on it. I think it's good weight, lightweight. Use on runs, unfortunately. But it's pretty good from Cooler Master to come out with that. Corsair M65. So I used to use the M65 when I was playing Pug, which was in what, 2016, I think. Weird shape, but actually quite a good mouse. So I don't think it's the same shit same day because it's totally different. It's definitely not a cash grab. I don't think it was trash. So it's a bit difficult because we're kind of going off like the current market maybe. And I put solid pick because it's not all about weight in this one, actually. So let's put the ducky feather, right? I'm going to put it in same shit same day because it's a very similar clone to the S2. Not the S2. Similar clone to the zowie. It's also similar clone to Modelo. Wasn't really much about it, even when you break it down. There's nothing special about the ducky feather. It's okay, pretty solid corner switches, but yeah, like the Alienware 610 for me, I think it's horrible. I don't think it's particularly well built. I don't think it's particularly nice shape, so I think it's trash. Don't waste your money on it. Plenty of better stuff around. Not their finest thing to make. Dark Core from Corsair. I had this before, I didn't like it, so I'm going to say it's trash. I don't particularly like the Dark Core from Corsair. It felt a bit latency, and don't know, wasn't great. So for me, not the best mouse. I reviewed it years ago. Xm1 V1, here we go, something a bit nice. I think it's a solid pick. It's okay, it could do with some improvements, but I think it's a solid pick. I think they made some better improvements later on. The V1 had a bit of a naff cable. Didn't the original one use on-runs? I can't remember, was it KL8s? I can't remember if they changed that in the V2. So I think the V2 is pretty good. I'm going to say it's Biddy Bob approved for the Xm1. Xm1 V2 is pretty nice, I think. Solid pick. And then the X1 Dark Core, so I think it's a solid pick. That's pretty nice as well. But the RGB one, I think, for me, was just same shit, different day. They just put RGB in it. They didn't do anything really to it, so I'm going to rank it a bit low. It's a bit of a difference there in the Xm1s, I think. Maybe because I put this Corsair Scimitar approved, and I won't really. Yeah, I could approve it for like an MMO, I guess, but see, that's a tricky one, right? Where do you put the Scimitar? Because it's not bad. It's kind of in a bit of a different league with like the Naga and that lot. I'm going to put it same shit, different day, the Scimitar, right? So I don't think it's trash because it's not a bad mouse. Let's go for the Bolt from, is it Fanuc? I'd say same shit, different day. There was nothing overly special about it. Maybe because it was an S2 wireless, but it had some problems with the mains, I think. And it did have cheap side buttons. But Scimitar on average, there we go. Xm1 Wireless. I think that's going to be approved. I don't think it's going to be epic when modded, but I think it's going to be good. I'm hoping so anyway, we'll see. Corsair glaive. Oh man. I think it was trash. I did not like the glaive. It was massive. And it was a horrible build quality, the glaive. Yeah, just don't waste your money. Shit. Final Mouse Sunset. I think at the time it's probably like an average one. I wouldn't say it was anything special at Final Mouse. It was lightweight at the time, but everything else was a bit naff. Wasn't the best, was it? Like quality wise was really bad. The shape was okay, a little bit big for me, and the cable sucked. Let's go to the Mz1, right? So for me, the Mz1, I'm going to put it as a bit of a cash grab, which I said it was. It should have been wireless, and they just chucked it out. The only thing that was good about it was the mains. The actual balance on it sucks. They put KL8s in it, which everyone else is doing. It came with a cable, which you should never have done with. Skates were not the best, and it was so narrow, it's unbelievable. Most people can't use that shape. The only one good thing is that it had a good button setup. That's it. G Pro Wireless. So I'm going to say epic when modded. Obviously, I can't not, right? But it is very good when modded, the G G Pro Wireless. So I'll put the Dream Machine as a solid pick because it is quite a good mouse. They did clone, it was a clone. But they did put a good sensor in it, I suppose. The original Microsoft Intelli, I mean, it's got to be accurate. It's got to be, well, it's approved, right? It's an OG. So that's exactly where that's going. We're not talking about maybe a little bit outdated now, let's say, but I would say it's still one of the badass ones. The Modelo wired. I think we need like maybe another category. Something like that. Do we know what we call it? What do you think we should call it? It's kind of, it's a clone and it had a load of issues. So it should be around like the same shit, different day, but it's a little bit less than that, I think, because these ones have been pretty solid. This one's not particularly great. Let's go for the final mouse Scream. I think it was average again. There was nothing special about the Scream. I had quite a lot of problems, I think, early on. People seem to like the shape though. So I thought it was okay, but they didn't change the shape too much. Final mouse, it kind of sits with that average level, I think. Yep, as I say, they're overpriced average, so probably put them down here, I think. It's kind of where they sit. Haste wired. Oh, man. Oh, I've got to put it in approved. I think the Haste wired is underrated because it's so cheap and such a good mouse, even with the 3335 in it. It's a beast. So if you've got a cheap mouse, that's a good shape. Haste wired is the one to get. Here we go. Rat 1. Mad Cat's Rat 1. Oh, my God. Where do I put this? I'm gonna put it in the OG because I think it's the original lightweight mouse. It's a bit like the Rat 9, right? So we've got the Rat 9 here somewhere. Is it Rat 9? Right, let's go here. So I think the Rat 9 again has to go as an OG. On people can hate me, but people like the Rat 9. I didn't like the Rat 9. But the way it was like so modular and stuff, we have to put it up here. Because, I mean, the sensor's generally pretty shit on it. G305, right? I mean, it's got to go at the top, right? It's cheap. Exceptionally moddable. Good sensor. It uses on 10 mils, which is problematic, hence you have to mod it. It's 100 grams, hence you have to mod it. But for 25 quid or 40, depending, can't complain, right? That's been out for what, 5 years before anything else even came out. Orochi V2. For me, I think the Orochi is approved by me. I think it's pretty good. I think it's got a bit of competition than the 305, but it's got better shape than the 305. But it's a little bit pricier. Go with the Penguin mouse, right? This is definitely a solid pick. If you've got some carpal tunnel or not, this is the one to have. I'm going to put in a solid pick, I think, the Penguin. You know, it's not the ideal mouse for gaming on, but if you've got some wrist issues, that's what you should be looking at. I'm going to put the rabbit on there, actually. The 303, G303 Shroud Edition, for me, is a total, an undisputed cash grab. It's got to be. Who doesn't think that's a cash grab? It's got old internals. They kind of fudged in a USB-C port with a newer sensor. Put a 500 milliamp battery in it. Absolutely horrible shape. It rocks and it is expensive. So here's a 402 Fury wired. For me, trash. Save you money. Absolutely horrible. I can't think of anything good about the 402. Honestly, just don't even bother. Get a 502 if you must, wired. Don't get the 402. Burst Pro. I'm going to say it's average. So the quality of it's okay. It's got horrible Titan switches in it, which is just ropey as anything optical switches. The weight's pretty decent on it, I think. Not a bad idea from Rocat, but I can't believe it's a solid pick because I don't think the switches are good. Other than that, it's not bad. It's average. All right, let's go. What about Hati? Hati for me, I would say But it's an average because it's a bit of a clone for the Superlight or for the G Pro Wireless, but it was wired. It was 80 quid though on it. I'd say it's not a solid pick because it was quite expensive. I don't know what it's still. What's the price now? I hate you. Max Game got it on for 70 euros. I don't think it's 70 euro mouse. Average, too priced. Overpriced average, I would say it is. It needs to come down in price and then it'll probably be average. What should we pick next? Model I, recent one from Glorious. Dragon. So for me, it's same shit, different day. It's a clone. I mean, the quality's better from Glorious, to be fair, than normal, but they're not doing anything different here. They're just reinventing the 502. But slightly lighter weight. G Pro wired, so basically the 305. I think it's still, I don't know. Isn't it still like 60 quid? Yeah, it's still 60 quid with 25k in it, sensor. So for me, it's, yeah, I think it's overpriced. Overpriced average, we'll put it out. G Pro wired. So it was good in its day, I think, but it's not even coming down in price yet. It's crazy. Maybe that says it's good, but I don't think it is. Razer Deathadder V2. I think it's a solid pick, to be fair. I think if it's wireless and they do a wireless version, it'd be in the approved. So I think we'll move the hyperspeed V2 up there. Or it could just be the DA V2. I'd put that as a approved one. That's pretty good. Because once it gets to wireless, and it's got the newer technology in from Razer, it's good. So G403 for me. I don't like the cable on it. It's the problem with the 403. But other than that, it's not a bad mouse. It's a solid pick. It just needs a power cord on it. I don't think it's epic when it's modded, which is where the problem puts it to me. Okay, I think they're both about the same. And they're solid pick. Razer Atheris. Ah, man. It's just... I don't like it. I'd say it's trash. Save your money and get the Orochi. M720. M720. I'm going to say it's average. I don't particularly like the scroll wheel. It's got absolutely horrendous side buttons. The mains are okay with these on runs. The shape's different. Got okay shape. And the cable's okay. M1K, right? I'm going to give it the stamp of approval for me. Before you rip me off, there's a few reasons. It is overpriced, I think, in terms of the gaming market. It's expensive, but it is handmade. Maybe call it a solid pick. We'll call it a solid pick, I think, because it hasn't got a scroll wheel and side buttons. It's a solid pick if you want a fingertip mouse, though. Probably one of the better ones around, in my opinion. There's not many of them. Final mouse Starlight. This is the Hades, so this is the earlier one for me. So they used magnesium on this, which was good, okay. I do think it's overpriced, but it was magnesium. I don't think it's a solid pick because it's still used on ROMs. Got quite a few QC issues in terms of scroll wheels and stuff. How many that statistically wise is, I don't know. I think because of the earlier problems, I can't put it into solid pick yet. But it was good what they did. I think the only thing they really revolutionized was they minted it and they put magnesium body on it, which was a bit different, but it makes it very, very stiff to click. So they should have picked up on that bit earlier, and it's still using the on-run switches in that version, which is not good. They should have changed that straight off the bat. But let's go with the Phantom SL12, though. I don't put the Phantom as a solid pick, because they did try and change. They put KL8s in it. They tried to fix some of the scroll wheels being off-center. And there's still a few little problems with it there. The skates still aren't the best either. But I think the Phantom was a solid pick. It's probably overpriced, but it is made out of magnesium, which is expensive. G502 wired. Oh, baby. It is a tricky one. 502, right? It kind of set the beginning of a good shape. Like, people like the shape of it, but the weight is horrendous. But we're not really looking at weight because the M65 is up in a solid pick. It's also got a very bad cable. Average. I think so. Because the shape's okay. I like the Infinity Scroll, but it's heavy. Average, like you say, I think. And I put the Hyperspeed as a solid pick. Because we're not talking about weight here, because it is a solid pick. They took the cable away. Kept it identical. Just made it wireless. So I think it's a solid pick. I think the cable is definitely a problem on the 502. Basilisk wired. Same shit, same day, because it's a copy of the 502 and they didn't do anything different to it, Razer. The Basilisk Wireless. Similar. I think it's overpriced average for me, the wireless Basilisk. I go with the 502 Lightspeed still. I think it's a better mouse. Razer Naga X. You have to give it some credit for its shape. I'd say this one's probably average for the Trinity. If I was picking one, I'd say the Trinity is a solid pick out of the two. That's one I'd go for. Kind of the scimitars there, but I think the Trinity is the better one because you can customize it a bit better. I always used to like the circle interchange on it on the Trinity. MX518 goes in the OG. 518 is the one of the classic shapes. No one's reinvented that shape yet with that thumb super curve. The KPU from Rocat has that kind of thumb piece, but the side buttons weren't the best on that one, let's be honest. And the scroll wheel wasn't the best, but it was kind of in the OG section. So Zowie FK series or FKC. For me, I think it's a solid pick, the FK. Good shape. The FK is definitely getting better. Scroll wheel is absolutely horrible. I mean, I wouldn't pick the Zowie series because of the scroll wheel, but I think it's a solid pick overall as a good mouse. I think I'd approve it if it wasn't for the scroll. That's my personal preference, but it is a good mouse. EC2C as well. I'd say put it up there as well as a solid pick. Good mouse. I put it as average, the wired V1 X Lite, because it used on runs, didn't have very good side switches. I like the idea of it. It had split skates. At least they lightened it up, but I couldn't say that because the Model I have lightened up. So I have to put I put the same shit, same day, different day. So I like, personally, I like the way they did the base on it. But other than that, it was pretty similar. They cut a few holes out of it, maybe tried to tweak it a bit, but they didn't take it far enough on the original Pulsar V1. It was a good entry level one, but a bit of a clone. Hence, same shit, different day. Not very good side buttons, not very good mains, but the weight of it was good. That was probably the key feature. If it wasn't for the weight, I don't think it would have been that good, that Pulsar. Rival 650. There we go. What were they trying to do with this? I have no idea. So for me, 650 is trash. Save your money. I don't see where it fits into any gamer's peripheral. It's not a very good mouse. Super heavy. Well, not enough weight. Weird cuts in the body. Don't know. Weirdish. Just I don't know what to say about it. It was not very good. 650. Right, we're going for the ROG Shakam, is it? Shakam? Absolutely trash. Just don't even go near it. You could almost call it a cash grab. I don't call it cash grab, it's trash. Just like, ROG are just trying to make money off their name on that one. That's what I'm going to go with this one for. Because it is not a good mouse at all. The only good thing about it is the hot swappable switches. Other than that, it's horrible. Horrible. Rocat KPU. Not bad. Slightly different shape. I'd say KPU is a solid pick. It's good ergo. It was good lightweight. They made it lightweight without having the body, holes in the body. It's got a nice position for the thumb. Reasonably good side buttons. Mains were still okay in it, or the Titans, but not the optical ones. Scroll wheel's good on it. So KPU's good. Cable perhaps could have been a bit better, but solid pick I'd say for the KPU. Final mouse, Air 58 for me. I'd say overpriced average. This kind of came out where at least they made a bit of a colour on it, but there's nothing different. It was no different really to the Sunset, the Final, Scream, the Air. They're all kind of in that area. They didn't really like revolutionise it. Final mouse, they kept it very similar. From the Screen, they made it a bit more holy, and then the Air and the Sunset were very similar. And they did that with the Phantom, but the Phantom for me is just the same. It's exactly the same mouse, just recoloured. What about HSK? The HSK I think is pretty good. I was going for an approved fingertip. I put the HSK up there because it's fingertip. I think it's fairly reasonably priced. It's still wired, so it's a little bit controversial maybe. But I actually quite like it. I like the I got the blue one, but I quite like it. It's good. For fingertip, It's good. So let's do the M2K then. So the M2K for me sits up here as well. I'd say it's approved. Got a scroll wheel now. We took it apart the other day. They do a matte and gloss version. I quite like the matte version. It's carbon fiber. PCB is amazing in that thing. Uses Japanese ROMs. Very nice switch. One of my favourites. So definitely up there. But, oh boy, is that a pricey mouse. China cheap. I mean, it is a bit of a controversy, right? What do we China cheap? I'm going to have to like, you got $7 to spend, £7 to spend. You can't buy anything on here for that, right? So I think for that reason, we're going to have to put it into the approved section, because if you're poor and you just need a good mouse, this one's the one to get, right? Cash grab. Could be. Yeah, let's put it in cash grab category. But if you've got no money, I mean, you got much choice, right? You have to pick something like that, unfortunately. Feel bad for you. Aerox 9. Oh, man. Where's the Aerox 9 go? I mean, overpriced average, maybe? I'm not even sure it's that good. Overpriced average. There's no way I'm paying that much money for it. Maybe it'll change when I've took one apart. I'll tell you straight off the bat. Aerox 5 is exactly the same. I think they're overpriced. I don't see anything special about the Steel Series ones here. Razer Viper Mini. Here's one that pulls at my heartstrings. The Viper Mini. I personally don't like it, but that's because I don't like high LOD. And you can try some tape method mods. I've tried them, done videos on them. Tried different firmwares, tried different pads. The sensor on it's still shite. And Razer just cannot sort out the firmware. So if high LOD doesn't bother you, I think it's a good mouse for the money. In fact, we're definitely up there. I think I have to put my LOD issues aside with the Mini. I can't prove it because I don't like the sensor. So it's have to go in solid pick. I think a solid pick if you don't mind the sensor, which is pretty fundamental to it. So you better like it. Other than that, it's a good mouse. G203. Yeah, it's average. I don't see anything good about it. It's not overpriced, but it's okay. I'd probably get a 3 or 5 over that, to be fair. Yeah, I think it's probably the average. It's okay. 203. Viper 8K. Viper 8K for me is overpriced average. Just get the normal Viper. Get the normal Viper wired. Until more stuff takes advantage of that 8K or it's even noticeable properly. People are going to tell you it's noticeable, but it's not. Just don't waste your money. Get the Viper wired one instead. The OG Viper. So for me, OG Viper is a solid pick. I'll put the OG Viper as approved because I think it's a good mouse, the OG Viper. The shape doesn't work for me, but I'm going to go against my own personal preferences and put it approved because it's a good mouse for most people. Side buttons could have been slightly better. They're a bit stiff, but it's got dual side buttons. Good software. I know people might blame me for Synapsis, but I don't actually hate it. It's got some better software than most of the trash out there. Corsair being one of them. Cable was okay. Could have been a little bit more flex in it. Main's a little bit mushy, but skates are okay. Oh, actually, we'll put it as solid because then I think the wireless version is better. Viper Wireless or Ultimate for me is the approved one because I'd go with wireless. So I think both are good. You can have to pick. Was quite a big price difference here. I think the Viper's quite cheap now. It's a Cone XP. So the Rocat Cone XP for me, I'm not a fan of that. I'm going to say that's trash. Save your money. Still wasting money on the Cone XP. I don't see what it fits in the market, and it's massive. Prime wired from Steel Series. I think it's average. Prime wired. Nothing particularly special about it. Not quite a clone of the C series, but I think it's definitely below like the EC2 and deathadder. It's definitely not as good. The Prime Wireless is quite good though, but I'd say it's a solid pick. I don't like the side buttons, a bit narrow, but Prime Wireless is a pretty solid pick. Sensei 10 from Steel Series. I think Sensei 10 is a pretty solid pick. Good shape. Never really had too many issues with it. Fairly reasonably priced. Sensei's alright. Definitely one to go out of Steel Series, from my opinion. The Aerox 3. I quite like the Aerox 3. But I prefer the Haste from my opinion. So I think the Aerox 3 is a solid pick as well. But now they've changed the skates. Originally they had the round skates and maybe some issues at the start, but the later versions are better. So Aerox 3 is a good pick. What about a G604? Ooh, no. I think the 604 is a pretty solid pick. I don't particularly like the side buttons on it, but it is what it is with that kind of configuration. They're never going to give you that good. I think if you're doing a lot of multimedia, it's a solid pick, but I don't think you want to game with it. Maybe if you're doing like some casual gaming, like the feet on it absolutely suck. But for 50 quid, it's not bad for like doing like, I don't know, multimedia stuff. Deathadder Essential. I think it kind of fits in like the average part of it. I think I'd just get the Deathadder V2. You know what? I think let's bring it up. I think it's probably better than that. It's probably a solid pick if you've not got big money and you want a Deathadder. And the Essential is not bad. What about the skull from G-Wolves? I guess they go in the same shit different day. They kind of made it lighter, but they're just copying EC2 Zowie originally. I don't think there was anything outstanding from the skull that people were like jumping around on, really. For me, I didn't. I thought, yeah, it's okay, it's lightweight, but it was nothing like revolutionary using a cable, just a clone. There's a lot of the clone. Look at that. So here's a tricky one. Ponage Symmetrical 2. Basically a Viper Wireless. I'm going to put it in Epic when modded. Because it's an OEM mouse, so we can't really class it because it's... But if you can mod it, you can get it down to the Viper Mini. You get down to about 55 grams, I think. And it's pretty good. And it's basically the Viper Mini Wireless, which is, for me, pretty good. People want that. So I think if you can modify the Ponage, I'd go for it. I've done a video on it. Man, this Spartha from ROG, I mean, just, I don't even want to put it anywhere. It shouldn't even be on the chart. It's that bad, this mouse. This mouse is horrific. We need the horrific tab. Just don't even buy it. Just don't buy it. Any ROG mouse, just don't buy them. Just don't do it. Save your money. Founder edition of the X-Lite. I mean, for me, it's going to be the Birdie Bob approved. I love this thing. Absolutely love it. Colour, glass skates, absolutely revolutionary. Lightweight. Nice mouse. Model D wired. There we go. Model D wired. I mean, for me, it's down here. It's in the same shit, different days category. For me, same shit, different day. 100%. Model D. Nothing outrageous for it. What about the M4 wired from Extrafy? I think it's a solid pick, the M4 wired. I think the shape's different enough that they haven't really cloned anybody. It's a bit of a ambi front, ergo back, but it is a little bit thin. MPO1 from Vaxi. Right, here we go. Where do I put this? This is one of those tricky ones, right? Because it's so similar to like the Zowie series that I think they just beat Zowie out with that design that they perhaps worked on. But I'd say its design is just enough to take it away from being a clone because it's got separate buttons from the main shell, but they're still using the same crappy score wheel. So I think it's a solid pick, the MPO1. M800 with a 33-35 sensor. I mean, this thing's cheap, man. Again, another Viper. Yeah, I think it's pretty good when you mod it. Off the bat, it's pretty good. It's another Viper Mini Ultimate, which I think is good. So I think you could do modding it. 33-35 is not the best sensor in it, but it's got pretty crappy side buttons, to be fair. But if you mod it and you do some side button mods and you take some weight out of it, spend an absolute metric ton of time on it, you can make it pretty good. Zowie ZA series for me is solid. And the SC series as well for me is a solid Zowie pick. So all Zowies in solid one. I think if they can make them wireless and they can change the scroll wheel, they're fixing some of the side button issues a bit like the MPO1, then it'll move up into the approved. But for me, I still can't pick Zowie because I don't like the scroll wheel. Which I think I'll drop Xm1 down, apart from the wireless one, into the solid pick as well for the same reason. I think they need to be wireless. They're good mice, but they need to be wireless to be in the approved for what they are. The haste being different because it's so cheap. And the, well, that's it really on the MK2K because it's build quality. M42 wired, a solid pick again. You know, you could change the back on it. Wasn't bad. Mambo Elite. Oh man, Mambo Elite. For me, it's average. I've never seen anything good about the Mambo Elite. I've had plenty of them, and every one of them are hated. And they've just been horrible for tracking and stuff like that. So I don't get on with the Mambo. I think the deathadder is the better version. I don't really see where the Mambo fits. They made some Mambo Wireless first, which were absolutely horrific. But in the Mambo Elite, maybe a bit of RGB, great, but just average. PMM. So originally Piranha, but now it's called PMM. I think given the options he does and what he does, I'm going to put him in the solid pick. I think you have to be after a specific like mouse and weight and things because he uses a lot of the 305 internals. But he does offer a lot of different shapes that other people are not doing wireless and lightweight, and he does all the custom stuff himself. So I think he's picking. If you want a custom wireless, ultralight with like a resin, because they're all resin prints, then check him out. Rival 3-wired, I think from SteelSeries is a solid pick, and that's because it's cheap. It's a good entry level mouse. It's pretty reasonable build quality. It's a good shape. Cable is a bit naff. But it's a solid mouse for the price. It's like 20 quid, I think. So it's probably one of SteelSeries better mice. Haste Wireless. For me, it'd be a solid pick. They've dropped the switches to 80 million TTCs and they're mushy as anything. They just don't work. I'm going to put this in Epic when modded because I've already modded one with TCC 30 million, as you saw the other day, and it was badass. And I'm going to do mine exactly the same. But you have to mod it. Pwnage Ultra Custom. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's the Pwnage Ultra Custom for me is average, overpriced average. The Ultra Custom. Is it Vansagetrex? I don't like it. Like, the one cool thing about mine is that Nacho Customs painted it. That's what makes mine epic. But overall, as a mouse, meh. So I'd say it's average. It's lightweight, I guess. It's slightly different design. It's not really a super like clone, which people thought it was. Well, I don't really say anything special about it. G Pro X, trash. Save you money. How many messing? It's good, but you have to mod it because it's average otherwise. Not average, but I mean, I'm always going to put epic because it's one of my mains. A solid pick, I think. If you don't mod it, I think if you're going to mod it, you probably want switches changing on it straight away, default. I don't think, if you're running with a general on-run 20 mils, just don't do it. Let's go with a Modelo Wireless. So the minus and the wireless, I'm classing as the same because the shape I can't be asked. Put in a different kind of categories because it makes no difference. The Modelo Wireless for me is, it's a clone, right? But it is, I'm going to say it's a average mouse. Now I do run a modded Modelo minus wireless, bit of controversy, and I'd probably put it up here because I like it modded. But I'm not going to put this one modded because I haven't modded the Modelo Wireless. For me, it's average. Build quality is okay, not the best. Sometimes it's got not particularly nice side buttons. It's average for me, the Modelo Wireless. The only good thing about it is wireless. Mz1 Wireless. Ooh. I mean, I put the Mz1 as a cash grab, which it was, in my opinion. It's kind of, he stops reviewing mice and he drops out a mouse. I mean, come on, man. Can't do that. Although I believe if you release your own mouse, you can't really review anything anymore because how can you review stuff if you've got your own mouse in the market? He's going to put that at the top every time, isn't he? I'm going to put it in the solid pick. It's not out yet, but I think it's going to sit around here, the wired one. M42 Wireless. These aren't out yet, but I might put into the widely approved one, to be fair. And the M42 is going to be a good wireless. So the M4, which is this one. I'm going to put the M4 in solid pick. V2 Mini from Pulsar. I think it's going to be a solid pick. I like the fact it's small and wireless. It could be pushed up if it's good. We'll see. X-Lite Wireless. I think it's a solid pick. I don't think I particularly approve it. It's got a bit too much pre-travel for me. And the red one, I think it's exactly the same. The V2. The V2 is slightly better. So I'd probably go V2 up here. Maybe the mini as well. Yeah. X-Lite V2 and X-Lite Mini Pulsar, I think, up there. M601 Red Dragon. I want to troll people with this one, but I'm not going to. I'm just saying don't waste your money. Corsair Harpoon. You know, I think it's pretty solid. I think the Harpoon's alright. I wouldn't spend my money on it, personally, but I think for people it's a one that they could probably use. Pegasus final mouse. Oof. And I've got to put it as a solid pick on them with the Phantom. They didn't change anything, so I mean they're all going to sit in a solid pick. They're not really going to go anywhere. Same with the Poseidon. They haven't changed anything, so it sits up here as well. It's a solid pick if you've got the money and you don't mind stiff clicks. Ninjutsu Katana, I actually like that. I think it's a solid pick, the Katana. I would have approved it or mained it. I just think the side buttons aren't very good. They've copied Zowie's EC2 version before the C, and that's what lets it down. But other than that, it's a pretty solid mouse, that Katana. Logitech 703. I think it's a solid pick, 703. Kind of fits with the 502. Nothing bad, nothing good about it. It's okay. Fits there. 603. 603 is average. I don't see why you'd pick the 603, not the 703, maybe for the sensor, but I think they're similar price, aren't they? 44 quid for the 603. The 703's got the Hero, hasn't it? I think different sensor. But it's 50 quid for the 703. Just get the 703, man. Meta, I think for me the Meta, same shit, different day. I didn't say anything like especially good about it. It was just a clone and same old, which is why I didn't particularly spend much time with it. I thought it'd be a little bit different, but nothing lit my fire with the Meta from GameSense. Rival 3 Wireless, I think it's a solid pick. Give me the Rival 3s up here somewhere. I think. Right, yeah, Rival 3. Solid pick, the Rival 3 Wireless. I mean, it's cheap. Final Mouse Ultralight 2. What a tough one this is. I absolutely hated the grip tape on this thing. This thing just made me laugh when they released it. The only good thing about the Ultralight 2 when it came out is the shape, the size of it, and it was lightweight. It has to fit in here with these because I don't think there was anything special about it. The only time the solid pick became when they made it wireless. Other than that, it was overpriced average. So, sorry. Colour Master S. I think it's just average for me. Nothing special about it. It's a bit of a standard, bog standard shape. I probably wouldn't get it, but it's okay if you want it. There's nothing special. Intelli Classic. I think it's a good remake of the vintage one. It's also a larger mouse for people who potentially can't find one. It's a bit of a playback on the original Intelli of the OGs, but it could definitely have a few improvements. I think, yeah, it's okay. It's a solid pick if you want that kind of mouse. Gamebition. Still using it a lot. I think the Gamebition is a solid pick. I can't really find anything that I don't particularly like with it at the minute. It's got a good scroll wheel. Change the colours on it. It's lightweight. It's a little bit pricey. It is a clone of the 305, which is a bit of a problem. But I think they've made it slightly better than the 305. They haven't just cloned it and then like tried not to improve it. They've made it lighter weight. They've changed the battery in it. They've put a different scroll wheel on it. They've improved the side buttons. Got better skates. It's USB-C. So for that reason, I'll move it up to a solid pick instead of a clone. Skull Mini. It's a little bit different, I think. I think when it came out, it had some maybe issues. I'd put it as average. I think it was okay, but it was one of the first small ergos, which is kind of where I give it a little bit more of a boost than a clone. But it wasn't the best. Rival 600. For me, don't bother, save your money. Don't see why it fits. Cone Air from Rocat. Definitely don't buy it, it's horrible. It's got the worst main buttons I think I've tried in any mouse for a long time, that Cone Air from Rocat. Horrible. Rival 10 for me is a bit average. I think really it's okay from the Steel series. I think the Sensei is better. And the Rival 3 I'd pick personally over the Rival 10. Kane 120 from Rocat. I'd say overpriced average from that one. It's okay because it's better than the Corsair. Model D Wireless. I'll put average because I don't think it's particularly the greatest build quality on that Model D. The Model O has better build quality. The new Modelo Wireless. Well, actually, it's about the same. The Modelo Minus has better build quality, let me say. These are average otherwise. But they are wireless for the clone, which is kind of get a little bit more of a boost. And then the outset from Vaxi. For me, the outset's probably better than the MP01. I put it as a solid pick, the Vaxi outset, to be fair. There we have it. My 119 mice. Doesn't look that many there, does it? Picked. So, there we go. Show what we got.